extraordinary times in which the systems that have shaped our lives, including governments, religions, our sense of reality, are radically shifting. This is an invitation to evolve, to discover a new vision of the future. The evolution begins inside ourselves. The idea that if we changed our thinking, we can change our world. Our presenter today, Zia Manakova. How'd I do? Good? Okay, hold on. Is a therapist. She was training me earlier. And life coach who has worked globally on 5 continents to empower people. Excuse me. She has a multicultural background, beginning in Australia, in the outback, as a child of Russian immigrants and raised among Aborigine people. Please help me welcome here as she presents the Evolution Revolution.
Wow, I sound good in writing. My God. Yeah, evolution, revolution. I've been a therapist, I calculated it this morning, 37 years, and worked in different people, a lot in Asia. And over that time, my work has changed like crazy. Start off Gestalt therapist, and then I studied Buddhism, and then I studied la la la, la, and the last thing I've been studying is Gabor Mate's trauma. I did a 1 year intensive with him. So all of this um, accumulation of experience that I've had in my life, and how I'm looking at how I used to work and how I'm working now, completely different. It's a total metamorphosis, like especially after the COVID, things have changed. Consciousness has changed. The way I used to work doesn't work anymore. There is an evolution revolution. There's a huge split that's going on. There's the right brain, left brain. There's the positives and negatives and us against them, and all of these splits that have been going on. And there's a change happening. You know, one of the splits is me against myself, which religion brought to me. I'm a sinner. That means I'm separate from God. That means I have to work to get to God. And having diverse experience with different cultures, I've come to realize that that's the opposite way around. We are absolutely perfectly amazing creatures from God. We are the universe. How about starting from there and going, and then the separation, the detachment from myself, being socialized by religion, by society, by belief structures, by male, female. I'm being separated from myself and then looking for myself outside, you know, instead of going the other way. So what I'm seeing as a therapist is people are going the other way. Now it's like, no, I'm not flawed. I'm not sinned. God isn't punishing me. I am everything. And I have to find myself because I've separated from me. I've divorced myself. I've castrated myself from my own authenticity. And this, I find, is the problem that is presenting itself in our world now. What I'm seeing is the caterpillar as a metamorphosis, as a as a way of understanding, like the grub, you know, eating, 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 eating. Look what I've got. Look how much I've got. Look how great I am. Look what I'm, me, I, look at that. And it's a narcissism, a cultural, global type of narcissism, having been lost and trying to find myself this way. What I'm seeing with young people is they're searching in a different way. The caterpillar eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and then weaves itself in a cocoon. And in that cocoon, what happens is it liquefies. It really liquefies. And that's the transformation. Coming out this other creature, a butterfly that can fly. That's what I'm seeing with young people. Young people are now, that doesn't serve me. I've eaten everything that you can eat on the planet. I've worn everything that you can wear. I've watched everything. I've got a computer and a TV and a this and a that. I've got it all saturated. Doesn't work anymore. Now what? Depression. That's the disease now, that, you know, out of narcissism into depression, generally. And what's that? It's the opposite of expression. So people are searching for themselves in a very different way. They're going back to authenticity, not using half brain, you know, left brain or only right brain, the masculine or only the feminine. But we're coming out of the patriarchy, which creates that separation. Patriarchy doesn't mean men. It means a system of beliefs, a system of functioning. And it's brought us to where we are, and it's the end. Like the law of energy is when something goes to the extreme of itself, it immediately turns to the opposite. And that's what's going on. The opposite, there's wars, there's this insanity going on. People are going crazy. Like the level of young people that are on antipsychotic medications, and it's outrageous. It's just outrageous. Where the opposite of depression is expression, you know, go to the fields and scream, you know, anxiety, scream. So what? It's only energy. So there's this change going on where there's a rejection of how it used to be, which is not good or bad, it's just the way it's been. And the model of patriarchy has created men being like this and women being like that. And it doesn't work anymore. And through a neutral force of self-observation, the greatest contribution you can give life is your own change, your own authenticity. Like, put your own authenticity out in the world. Every single fingerprint that ever was and ever will be is different. Just that. I mean, is that God showing you eternity or what? It's like, that's amazing. Every single human being in Spanish, it's don. You know, everyone has their own particular don. And the don is your gift to life. Every single person's don is completely different to the other. And I'm searching for my don out here. Doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. All of these things don't work anymore. Was for its time, you know, good, bad, right, wrong, whatever it was, doesn't work anymore. There's an evolution revolution going on, and it starts with looking at me inside myself and what doesn't work here anymore. All of the beliefs, I should, I shouldn't, I must, I can't, all of these need to dissolve. They need to be examined. As soon as you examine them, you'll see where they came from. And when you see where they came from, the force of that belief just dissolves. It has no power over you anymore. And what happens is there's a space. There's an open space that happens where your energy is available for you. And in the integration, which is neutral force, and this is a universal law of energy, the positive and negative is integrated through, that's the pyramid, the positive, negative, integrated through neutral force. Neutral force means purely observing, where there's no judgment, there's no opinion, there's no cultural bias, there's nothing. There's like a child just seeing what is. And when you see what is, the opposites dissolve, and there's an integration of energy. Instead of your energy being occupied by this is good and that's bad, it dissolves those belief systems so that energy is available for a different integration, for a higher integration. And that's amazing. It's like a space, a space. Oh my God, I can breathe. I can get off my case finally, you know? My complexes and my shoulds and shouldn'ts that are like, that's mental slavery. It's totally mental slavery. All of these, you know, structures of where, what, how, and should, and oh no, I did it and I have to, and you know, and evaluating myself on that. That'll drive you nuts, really. It drives people crazy. Oh, give me an antidepressant, give me a sleeping pill, you know, give me whatever, psychotic, whatever, your head's spinning. It's like I want my thoughts to stop. My mind's just spinning and spinning and spinning. It's lack of integration. That's all it is. Once you just have a look, seeing, really seeing, and there's layers of seeing. You don't conclude, you don't see something and then make a judgment and conclude observation, because there's no end to it. You're just seeing and seeing and seeing and seeing, and in the seeing there's a dissolving and a dissolving instead of attaching yourself, instead of identifying with, oh, I shouldn't do this, with that mind garbage that just goes on. It's a program. It came to you. It's not from you, it came to you. And as soon as you see that mind program, me looking at it, and I'm observing it, it loses power. It stops robbing me of my daily energy. I eat, I sleep, I wake up, I've got energy, and this is going to suck my energy, you know, and exhaust me. It's like, oh, I'm going to collapse in bed. You know, instead of that, I'm seeing. So my energy in my life force goes here into the seeing, not identifying with the regurgitating mind. And so it starves and it loses control over you. And then there's nothing there. And that's where things are born. I'm getting the sign. and you know, the greatest contribution to life is your own healing. The greatest contribution you can give to your family, to your society, to life on earth, you know, is your own healing. You know, that like these great gurus and you know, what did they do? They just examined themselves. They kept looking at their own program, that's all. And then their lights turned on. That's called enlightenment. You know, your lights turn on. Every time you see what's not you, your lights go on. It's like, no, I'm not that. No, I'm not a sinner. I wasn't born in sin. No, I'm God's child, you know. No, I'm perfect. My problem is that I disassociated from myself. That's my problem. Not that I'm born flawed and I have to get back to what, you know. No, just getting rid of what you're not. Every time you see what you're not and you realize, you see where it came from, it dissolves. Then you're in neutral force of just being present. You know, you should be present, and your self-awareness and enlightenment and all of that. Get rid of all of what you're not, and there you are. That's it. Yes, madam. Oh, sorry.
Good morning.
My friend, we argue a lot.
We argue a lot, but that's healthy. Um, my question to you, Asa, is what do you believe are the milestone events in the last 50 years that have created the detachment? Because what we're seeing now is a new paradigm of relationship.
It hasn't even been born yet. The paradigm's in the process of being born. And the thing that's shifted a lot is hallucinogenics.
So, so what you're saying is that the continual prescription of giving medication to people, I mean, hallucinogenics, narcotics, is what has created this separation?
Hallucinogenics give you the experience that other dimensions exist, but they don't keep you there. That's your own work.
Um, I'm going to question that. I'm going to argue that. I am going to say to you that there are events that have occurred since the 1970s which are earmarks for the changes that we are now experiencing today.
Okay, maybe you should give a talk on that. That sounds good.
Yeah, but it segues back to what you're saying. I
Okay.
mean, what you're saying is accurate and it is informative. Yet, I think someone who is curious would want to know where and why these changes are occurring.
Yeah, good talk.
Good friend, huh?
Hi, Isa. How are you? I've always modeled my life on to thine own self be true. Okay, Shakespeare, Hamlet, and that centers you. You're right. In a crazy world, which we live in, more crazy than ever, if you're centered, then whatever people think, whatever people do, if you feel that you are in the right place with your values, with your caring, with your compassion, it really doesn't matter how much criticism an individual takes. I agree with you that it can be very, very confusing and it gets more confusing. And one of the most important things is to teach our children that, you know, they have a moral code as well. So we can get into the details, but, you know, I don't want to argue the point back and forth, but I think in some ways we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'll be curious what you think about that.
Okay. You know, confusion is actually very interesting. It's the fusion between my program and me, and my truth, my soul's vibration. That's confusion. If 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 you're confused, you stand back and watch it acting out. Just watch it, watch it. Don't fix it. Don't fix it. Don't fix it. Just watch it, watch it, watch it. And in the watching, it dissolves in something higher. A higher awareness comes through in you, not from. Just a knowingness. The part of you that is, I know, that part.
Thank you very much for everything you've said this morning. And thank you for your magical expressions that illuminate the concepts. I love the way your hands move because it tells the whole story. But the last thing that you said that I love the most, clearest, is take away everything that isn't you, and there you are. And I'm reminded of Michelangelo being asked, how did you carve the David? He said, I took away everything that wasn't the David. And what a joyful thing it is to feel close to yourself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, ah. You can take a deep breath, absolutely. And you know what? We actually love ourselves. The closer you get to yourself, the more, oh, you should love yourself. What does that mean? Okay, I love myself. No, it comes up, and the awareness comes up. Like you start noticing your sense of humor. It's like, wow, you love your joy. You love your sense of humor. You love your mind. I trip on my mind, you start, and it's a self-respect, and then it's like, no, 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 no negatives. I love myself, and I want to give that to everybody. Absolutely, absolutely. And the ego, when you separate, of course you have to have the ego, because the ego is the false self, right? It's the personality. Necessary, not bad, but it is you're trying to be what you already are. That's the thing with the ego. It's in the way.
This is one of my favorite quotes. The worst mistake the human race ever made was deciding that men should be in charge just because we were bigger and stronger. Your thoughts?
Oh, oh, please. There's a saying on this continent. The natives of this continent say that women have come here to learn to open their throat chakra. Their heart's open naturally, and their throat is closed. And men have come here to learn to open their heart chakra. Their throat's open, their heart's closed. Excuse me, politics, you know, that's what's going on. Closed heart, open throat. There needs to be an integration in all of us. Women need to open their mouth, man, and tell the truth, because we know how to get through life without telling the truth. Yes, yes. Your teachers, bossy women. Yeah, they're your Buddhas, mate.
Thank you very much for enlightening us this morning. We'd like, as a small token of our appreciation, to present you with one of our new Rotary mugs. And Jose would like. Okay, Azza, thank you so much. Everyone have a great week as we continue our lives of service.